Welcome back to another episode of Groundwork. This week I'm going to be answering the question that's existed since the invention of the wheel. Will these tyres fit with a 2-inch lift? So the short answer is yes, they will, but obviously we've got to do some mods, namely cutting the guards to clear everything. Now, guard chops. My opinion is that with any modification, you want to try and make it look like it's not modified. That's the whole point. Tasteful mods are done in a way that people only really notice them if they're really looking at them. You see different ways of doing guard chops, and admittedly, some people do them real badly because they just don't have the ability or the facilities to do them well. And when I say badly, I mean what they do is they'll put a whole lot of cuts in there and then fold them over, and it's just disgusting. There's all these spots where rust can start, so in my opinion the only way to really do it is to cut them and then weld them back in place. Now, because I'm such a professional filmmaker, the other night when I was fitting the 37s, I just totally forgot to actually do any filming of marking it out or anything like that. I just wanted to get them on there. But it's all right, I've got a stunt guard, and I can show you how I mark it out and everything with the other guard. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. So I'll fit the GU diffs out of the old comp truck onto this. I don't think that it was worth doing a video on that because nobody wants to see some fat guy roll around on the ground swearing and yelling at bolts to get in their home. So yeah, we've got GU diffs and lockers now, as well as the 37. So we'll come around to the other side of the ute and I'll show you how I mark out the guard. Figuring out how big your chop needs to be really comes down to having the tyres and the suspension at full compression and moving the steering to make sure it's all going to clear. I've already done that on the car, so I know how much I need to take out. So I just took a reference from there, measured across and what's going to be, and I put a mark there so I know that that's where I need to aim for. Now the way I like to mark them out is I just use a TIG rod. So this is just a stainless steel TIG rod, but you can use it like, any bit of dowel or wire or something like that, something that you can just place on there to get an arc. Now where it goes really comes down to being on the tangent of this arc, and I can tell that it looks pretty good there, but this is either a 2-person job, or what you can do, or what I do sometimes, is just drill a small hole, because I can use that hole to hold the rod in. You need a third hand to be able to actually draw. Put that on. This is a lot easier with another person. Probably don't have another person. And no matter how hard I try, the dogs will not help me. If we put like a nice continuation of the arc, pretty much at the tangent of that curve there, and we know that's going to be our cut line. Now there is 2 ways of doing this. One, you can just cut that out and then we move on to plating the lip back in here and welding it in. Alternatively, what you can do is run a cut along this edge all the way and then do your other cut there. So essentially you're taking a pie cut out. What you can do then is you can actually push that lip back, manipulate it a little bit and weld that back in. But that only really works if you've got like a virgin guard that doesn't have any damage or anything like that. This one here is pretty mangled. The ones on the car were pretty mangled, so I was just like, I'll just cut them right off and just plate back in there with some different steel. It's the same process for the front, just using the big rod to mark what you need. That's it, easy way to mark a nice arc on there. Okay, so you can see here the guard's all chopped out, and we're going to need some steel to weld a lip back in there. Now, because I'm a fan of using genuine parts, we've got to use genuine Nissan steel, and I've got some out the back here. An old roof that I chopped off a car years ago. You can see I've already taken some out of it to do another set of guards, but I'll just cut a section of steel out of that, and that'll be the steel that we use. So I've taken the paint off the strip and off the guard, and we can start thinking about tacking this in. Okay, now because the strip is straight, it's actually going to need some modifications to follow the guard, which is curved. So what's going to happen is we're going to start tacking it in, and then we're going to have to put some slots in here so that we can fold the strip around. Then we weld those slots up and grind them off so they look seamless. There's a good reason why we use thin material that matches the same thickness as the metal of the guard. Apart from the fact it's easier to manipulate, it really helps you dial in a nice welding setting. We've got the same size materials, we can really get a nice setting. It's going to do a really good weld. After I've got them all tacked in, I like to run along now with the flat disc and just take off whatever is sort of protruding past there. Just makes for a nicer, better penetrating weld and less cleanup. If you've watched the video I did on the quarter chop, the way that I'm recommending to do this thin sheet corner to corner welding is just by a series of tacks and moving the heat around. It's a good way of managing the heat. But I'm choosing to do it differently with this, where I'm doing these round about 40 mil runs. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, I'm doing it in a backstep welding fashion, as in that I'm doing weld, 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 and continuing on. That's a technique that you can use to control heat in thin sheet welding anyway. Another reason is these welds are in a vertical down position. Vertical downs are colder welds anyway, so that's helping to mitigate heat. And thirdly, most importantly, is that this is my car and I just want to get this thing done, because all I'm trying to do is clear tyres and go for a wheel. So I'm prepared to take a little bit of distortion in the panel just to get it done a little bit quicker. Little 6 grit sanding disc, careful because these things tear your face off. I haven't decided what I want to do with paint yet, so I'm going to call that at the end of this video. But that's basically it. Guard chop on GQ Patrol, clear 37s with a 2-inch lift, easy as. We've got a nice factory looking lip in there now, something good we can actually attach a flare to because we've got to have tyre coverage for the cops. And yeah, that's it. Let me know in the comments if you're enjoying the video. Thanks for watching, thanks to new subscribers, and I'll see you in the next video.